Hi everybody, welcome back to True Mission Story Central here at Christian Assembly. I'm Josh. We're going to be together for a few minutes here as we hear another story about how God provides and protects the missionaries, the people He has called to go out into the world just like us, to tell the truth of Jesus' love to every person and how God provides for them while they're out there. They are amazing stories, and the best part about them, it isn't the miracles, it's the fact that they're true. The miracles are amazing, but the fact that these are true accounts, they're things that happen, and nobody can dispute them because they're true. That's what just amazes me. And today we're going to look at another story. This one really caught my eye because I think it's pretty amazing. And I'm really excited to share it with you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. No rain had fallen for a really long time. And as a result, all of the crops were dying. They were drying up. They just weren't going to live. And if rain didn't come soon, there'd be no food for the people to eat. Days and days passed, and still there was no rain. Finally, missionary Orla needed to get food for his family. They were missionaries in the northeast part of the country of Brazil, and the food in their home was almost completely gone. Missionary Orla, knew something had to be done, so he set out on his mule in search of food. He traveled for several days until he finally found a sack of rice and a sack of beans that he could buy. He loaded up the food on his mule and headed back home. Rice and beans. As he arrived in the town, he could see the looks on the people's faces as they saw him carrying food on his mule. He had food. They had none. Where could they get food? They had no money and no crops because there was no rain, and that meant, unfortunately, they were going to starve. Now, Missionary Orla knew that he didn't have enough food to feed everybody in town. There just wasn't enough. All he could do was pray. That's a funny sentence. All. Prayer should always be the first thing we go to, shouldn't it? Absolutely. But in any event, he prayed. Missionary Orla and his family prayed to God for a miracle. Somehow, some way, God needed to provide food for the starving people in this town. And as they were praying, Missionary Orla heard God tell him to put the sack of beans and the sack of rice in the window of his home. He then was supposed to tell the people in the town to come and get what they needed to feed their families. Now this would mean that his family would have less to eat, but he knew that what he heard was from God. He knew God had spoken, and he wanted to obey and listen to God. Just like a good child, he wanted to do what his father had asked him to do. So the 2 bags of food weren't enough to feed the whole town, but the missionary did trust God for that miracle. But what would God do? As the people lined up at the missionary's house, food was given out to each person. Each person in the town. This is only 1 bag of rice, 1 bag of beans. At the end of the day, though, the sacks were still completely full. They were completely full. Guys, check that out. Missionary Orla could hardly believe his eyes. For hours and hours, he had given out rice and beans from the sacks, yet the sacks were still full. God had done the miraculous. And the next day, people started lining up again for more food. And all day long, food was given out to the people. Yet at the end of the day, the sacks were still full. 2 days in a row of people from all over the city coming to take rice and beans out of these bags. And when all is said and done, the bags are still full, all the way full. This continued day after day after day. It wasn't just 2 days, it was day after day after day. And the sack of rice and the sack of beans never once emptied. Now this continued for over a month until the rains came and the crops started to grow again. See, God miraculously provided for his people. Their lives were spared because God provided food for them to eat. God showed the people of that town that he was real and that he loved them. Many people started to follow Jesus because of that great miracle that happened. Guys, this story proves to us that no matter how bad things may look, no matter how desperate we might feel, no matter how much we can't see an answer or a way that can be made to fix the situation, God can do anything. Jesus said, with people, things can be impossible, but nothing is impossible with God. So I want to, here's that word again, I want to encourage you. If there's a need that you have, maybe your family doesn't have enough to eat. Maybe you have a situation that's scary and you don't see how it can get any better. I want to encourage you to pray. Pray and trust that God will do the miraculous. Because the fact is, not only is he real, but guys, he loves you so much more than you'll ever be able to understand, than I'll ever be able to understand during our life here on this earth. His love is so much more than we can comprehend. So I really just encourage you, no matter what the situation, no matter how desperate it looks, no matter how bad it might seem, pray. Pray and trust. Well, that's all we've got for tonight here at True Mission Story Central. It's another beautiful Wednesday. I absolutely love being able to spend a little time with you on these Wednesdays, and I look forward to seeing you Sunday morning for another High Point Kids adventure, and again back here in this room, in this exact spot, next Wednesday night for another True Mission story. That's all from us here at Christian Assembly. Again, I'm Josh. Know that you are loved by God and by us more than you'll ever know, and we'll see you later. Ciao.